Hi, my name is Lilly, and I'm here with Halle and Carmen. And today we will be talking about the virtues patience, kindness, and humility. And just for preface, we're all going to be referencing our book from class, which is On Reading Well, Finding the Good Life Through Great Books, which is written by Karen Swallow Prior. So, to start off, does anyone want to give us a quick definition of what virtues are?
I just have an online definition that I found, and it's basically just behavior showing high moral standards. So, in my own words, I would say that a virtue is just like an action or a way of behaving that demonstrates like a high value of morals in one's life.
Okay, yeah, and then Halle, do you want to tell us why they're important? Like, why it's important to have virtues?
Yeah, of course. Well, to have different virtues, like it talks about in the book, to attain the good life, means like to have these virtues, you have to almost like take them into your own consideration and portray them into your own life, but also into other people's lives. And to really find the deep meaning and importance of them, you really have to, like, on a daily basis, practice these and really find examples or even just like people in your life that really portray the different virtues that you want to practice in your daily life. And I feel like the best way just to achieve these is to find also excellence, because the definition in the book with virtue also means just finding and attaining excellence. And so when most people strive for excellence, these virtues will really come in handy. And that's what I think the importance of it is.
Yeah, so they'll essentially just like lead us towards the good life, which is like a life following Christ for us Christians.
Right.
Exactly.
And so, like I said before, we're all going to talk about what virtues we think are the most important for reaching that good life. And so, Carmen, do you want to start out with your virtue of humility?
Yes. Okay. So my virtue is humility, and I'm just going to start off with a quick definition from the book On Reading Well. And the books gives a couple different definitions, but the one that I took from it says that humility is the acknowledgement that we all come from dust, and to dust we all return. And I interpreted that quote as like saying we're all kind of like, if like using humility and having humility is understanding that we all come from the same God and we're all on the same level as humans. Like, none of us are any higher than the other, so we shouldn't be thinking of ourselves any highly than anyone else around us. And then my personal definition is that humility is to be genuine and real instead of disguising oneself with pride, because I think that pride can become really consuming and can hide our genuine personalities and like cover them up.
Good stuff. All right, and then Halle, you have kindness. Do you want to just give us a quick little definition of that?
Yeah, of course.
Cool.
So in the book, kindness, the root word kin in the word kindness, it's almost, kin means family, but also like oneself in the family. And so it says to be kind then is to treat someone like their family, so like how you would with your own family. And then online, it's kindness is defined as the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. So being kind also isn't being nice. They're two different things, and you don't always have to be nice when showing someone true kindness. And with kindness, it's almost like you're showing someone the compassion that you would want others to show you, but also how Jesus would show to other people as well. And even the smallest acts of kindness, as we were reading in our articles, but also in this chapter, they can like turn a person's perspective just like that, and they can change their mindset, and it really makes an impact on their life even if we don't even know it. But just being kind is just showing someone our compassion and affection towards them.
Nice. And then you feel like niceness can almost, you can be like fake nice to people, right? Versus kindness is more genuine.
Yeah.
So did you want to just give a little quick something about that?
Oh, yeah. So let's see. So being nice to someone means like, it almost, people will take it as, oh, I have to be nice to this person in order for them to like take it as, oh, this person actually likes me. But there can also be situations where people are nice, or they can act as they are being nice, but it can, like, in their true intentions are not what they portray out to other people. So kindness is just merely showing someone, like, your affection towards them, and it can come off as being nice, but, like, with kindness, like, your intentions are more true to them, and it comes off as more of, like, a powerful way as showing someone, like, what it truly means to, like, be part of a family and to be, like, in the exception of others. So
yeah, because niceness can almost be like a politeness thing.
Yes,
right? Versus,
exactly.
like, being truly kind to someone.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Lily, I heard that you were going to be talking about the virtue of patience. So would you like to give us a definition of
I have
that?
a quick little definition from the book. So the book says, and this is a little quote, "The essence of patience is the willingness to endure suffering." So for me, that kind of means patience is control over your outlook in stressful or anxiety-filled situations, and patience can be an example of strength and reflects diligence in your own life. It's important to have patience as it allows you to keep yourself calm and focused and make the right decisions in stressful situations, and other virtues tend to build off of patience, as patience is kind of a foundation for things like kindness, because you need patience in order to be kind to people, and things like humility. You have to be patient with yourself to practice humility and things like that. Just going off of your guys's for some little examples.
Yeah.
And yeah, having patience with others is important, but it's also important to let God, like, justify what other people do in their actions and not yourself. So patience is part of allowing people to make mistakes, and then instead of yourself trying to, like, rationalize it or justify it in your own mind, it's letting God kind of take care of that from a Christian perspective.
Right.
And that's just my little baby definition on patience and why it's important. And then did we want to go around and kind of talk about how these all kind of lead us towards the good life?
Yeah.
Okay,
Carmen,
perfect.
you want to start us off?
Yeah. I think that humility can lead us to the good life because I don't think the good life is attainable when you're full of pride. I think instead of, like, humility leading us there, it's more of, like, getting rid of pride can lead us there, because I don't think it's possible to live a virtuous and good life if you're full of pride. So I think that being being humble and being, like, genuine and kind of, like, taking in that you are made in God's image and, like, channeling that more of can lead you to a good life.
And Carmen, humility is also, like, noticing other people's accomplishments and, like, being happy for them, and not only, like,
Right.
you know, thinking of yourself and being like, oh, I wish I did that. I wish
Yeah.
I was the one that got the attention, but instead being happy that other people are also making accomplishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cute. Okay. All right.
Okay. Halle, do you want to kind of talk about kindness here?
Yeah. So it talks about here in the book that kindness is unlike other virtues in that we know what kindness is, but it's almost like when we're put in the public, we don't really know how to portray kindness to others. And it's almost like because people see, like, being kind towards others they can almost feel judged when doing it. And I feel like that's why sometimes people are afraid of being kind to people, is because they're just merely afraid of, like, being judged by others, and just that feeling of, oh, like, why should I be kind to someone if they're not going to show me, like, back that kindness? So I feel like that's why a lot of people that we see today are almost on the quieter side of being social and putting themselves out there. But I just feel like showing kindness to others can merely just saying hi to someone and just asking how their day is. You don't have to have a huge conversation with them, because maybe you don't know, like, they're going through some tough times in their life that you may not know about, and just saying hi and asking how their day is could really boost up their confidence and could show them the affection and love that they need. So I feel like kindness can really make an impact on someone's life.
Yeah. And then I have a little quick question for you.
Yeah.
How can, like, traumatizing events from, like, a person's life, like anyone's life, be a factor in how we show kindness to others? Like, can that give us, like, roadblocks, or what do you think?
That's a great question. Yeah, I feel like in our past, like if we were to have, for anyone, if we were to have any traumatizing events, like maybe we had a rough like family life growing up, or maybe we just didn't have the best friend group when we were like younger. And I feel like it can definitely make an impact on our social life, like as we start to grow up, just because like people, they might have a harder time showing love and compassion towards other people because they weren't shown that. So I feel like definitely like the negative impacts on that own person's life can also factor out into how they show that out into the world and to other people. So I definitely feel like there can be some roadblocks in a person's life if they've had a tougher past growing up. So yeah, it's a great question though.
That makes sense. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a question. This one's kind of more for everyone. Do we think all virtues are necessary to lead us to the good life? Like, do we think we need every single virtue, or is there like a select few that can get us there?
I kind of think we need all of the virtues. And the nice thing about them is they all kind of build off of each other. Like, you need humility to practice kindness. You need patience to practice both, like, kindness and humility. Like, they all kind of go hand in hand. And so I think as you work towards one, you'll pick up the others along the way.
Right.
And I don't think saying you need them all is necessarily the right way to go about it, but it's versus, like, if you want to attain the good life, you're going to pick up all these virtues along the way.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's just my opinion on it. Like, I think that they kind of build off of each other, and they all are important in their own ways.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Lily on that one. I think that every single virtue that is talked about in this book is, like, it's really great for when someone is trying to, like, go out and obtain, like, the good life, because although each virtue has its own, like, priorities and certain points that they want to make, like, having all of them, like, as a person it's just going to make your life, like, that much better and that much easier. And also, you could be, like, a great example for people who are trying to maybe obtain just, like, certain ones in their own lives. But I feel like it's definitely essential if we at least equip a little bit of each virtue.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Carmen.
Oh, thank you. I agree with both of you guys. I think that they kind of like domino effect off of each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's more of like you get one virtue and that leads you into getting these other virtues, and that leads you into getting the rest of the virtues. And it's more of like I honestly think like you could say like you only need one, because getting that one leads you to getting the rest of them. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yep. I'm really quickly going to jump in and just talk about how patience can lead you to the good life. I just want to throw my little bit in there. They can edit this however they need to. But I'm just going to throw it in super quick. So patience leads us to the good life by just leading us towards, like, a happier life. Practicing patience helps you to be kinder to others, to handle stressful situations better, helps to reduce anxiety. Having patience means being able to wait calmly in the face of frustration or adversity. So anywhere there's frustration or adversity, like, which is nearly everywhere, we have the opportunity to practice patience. And, like, it's also been talked about a ton that patience is, like, super important to living a good life. Like, religions and philosophers have long praised the virtue of patience. And now, according to an article that I read by Greater Good magazine, researchers are also starting to do so as well. Recent studies have found that, sure enough, good things really do come to those who wait.
I like that.
Thanks. Just a cute little thing.
Lily, I have a question for you about your virtue patience. Why do you think God lets the most patient and innocent suffer the greatest consequences? Like, why would God let someone who maybe has been, like, super patient on really, like, hard situations in their life and has really tried to, like, mellow out on those? Like, why do you think he lets those people suffer the most?
Yeah, I can answer that question for you super quick. So in the story of Job, we see that he continues to trust God through hardship. He loses his family, his livestock. He gets extremely sick. His wife basically, like, curses him for not giving up on God. She's like, why do you still believe in this God that's making you suffer? And Job said, because I'll believe in God through anything. Like, he will provide for me. And we see later that Job is blessed and he continues to live a wonderful life. And he trusted God, and God fulfilled his life for him. We also had a chapel a couple weeks ago where the father lost his son, I'm pretty sure, to a disease. And through that, he was like, why would God put me through this? It doesn't seem fair that I had to lose a child.
Right.
And of course, that's terrible in any situation. But later on, a couple years later, when a close family friend of his lost their kid to a similar situation, he was able to show empathy and allow that family to have kind of a safe space that they could confide in. And so patience is helpful through that, so that you can learn from your suffering and then help other people in your life. So God sometimes puts people through hard situations so that later on they can bless other people and their lives will be fulfilled, and they can learn new lessons and just grow in their relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carmen, I also have a question for you about humility. So it talks about in the chapter how humility, the opposite of being humble, is being prideful.
Right.
And do you feel like there is a time where a person can almost be too humble in a situation?
Yes, I do. I think that being too humble is so I had this article that was talking about how being humble is thinking lowly of oneself. And I think that is a perfect example of being too humble, because the whole point of being humble is to be basically modest with how you view yourself, not necessarily looking down on yourself. So I think being too humble would just be you think poorly of yourself versus just not thinking of yourself as much. I think instead of looking down on oneself and not lifting yourself up, just really beating yourself up, that you should just not think of yourself as much. Being humble is more just not really thinking of yourself.
No, because I remember that article that we read where it said it's you can be proud of yourself for your accomplishments, but the point is not to boast about your accomplishments.
Right.
And it's almost just as bad to dismiss the accomplishments you've made and think of yourself in a lowly sense versus accepting I have these talents, but other people have their other talents, and they should be celebrated as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I also have a question for you, Lily, about patience.
Yeah.
So I kind of think that patience has a lot to do with faith and trusting in the Lord. Do you have anything that you want to say on that?
Yeah, so similarly to the stories of Job and the stories of the father that lost their child, patience in your faith can be very difficult to practice, but once you get good at it, you'll start to see the benefits of patience in your faith. And of course, sometimes there's doubt in our faith, and I feel patience is an important part of that, and patience can be linked with, in my mind, prayer as well, because it takes patience to pray for things and to ask God for things and thank God for things. And you might not always know exactly what you want to know and everything you want to know about a situation right away, but God will reveal those things to you as time goes on, which does take patience.
Yeah.
So I feel they do go hand in hand, faith and patience. It's important to have patience with your faith and faith with patience. They kind of help each other out in that sense.
Right. They go hand in hand.
Yep. Let's see.
Okay. I kind of want to take us back to our original question as we wrap this up, which was our prompt: what virtue is most important in attaining the good life? So throughout this podcast, what do you guys think now on that same question?
How our virtues lead us towards the good life, our individual ones?
Which one do we think is the most important, or is there even one that's more important than the others?
I think we said earlier about do we need all the virtues or do we need just some of them, and how we said they kind of domino effect off each other, you said, Carmen. I think it's there aren't necessarily any that are more important than the other. There are some that just come before the others.
Right.
So I think that it's they all hold their own value, but they're all linked together at the same time. So it's they have to work together. So you kind of have to practice all of them a little bit. So I don't feel one's more important than the other, because they all kind of work together in a sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that they all kind of hold equal importance. I don't think one of them is better than the other or like more crucial than the other. I just think that they all lead to each other in different ways. So like maybe if you start with one virtue, it'll take you longer to get to the others or vice versa. But at the end of the day, I think they all hold equal value in attaining the good life.
Yeah. So it's less of like which one's more important, but like which one is more important to practice first and to start working on.
Right.
Yeah. Because I feel like some of them do really set like a good like base level so that you can work and attain your other virtues. Halle?
No, I think you guys hit it right on point. I definitely feel like all the virtues are equally attained the same, and I feel like they all show the same importance, but there are definitely ones that are more of a base, like a more of a foundation base than others. Just like I would agree that patience is a little more on the baseline, because in order to equip the other virtues, you need patience, and with patience comes suffering almost, and it's like you need to endure suffering with your patience, and that can be a super hard thing to attain. So, but I definitely feel like off of patience will come the domino effect, like Carmen was saying, with these other virtues, and they'll all play their part in your life and just like how you need to attain the good life. So, yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else?
I mean, to fill time, if we can add this in, I'm going to ask another question.
Okay.
Because I feel like we should just have a little more buffer.
I know.
And so I just have one, probably last question, because we've been talking about how virtues lead us to the good life. And I have a question here that says, is it possible to find the good life without knowing these virtues / not putting them into practice? Why or why not?
Let's see. Well, I mean, attaining the good life means like finding your happy place in life, but also attaining the good life as a Christian means like finding your faith-based foundation upon Jesus and where that falls into your life. So I definitely feel like, as from a Christian standpoint, I feel like if we definitely did not put these virtues into our daily lives, into our practice, I definitely feel like we would struggle more to find that really rooted based foundation of where we needed to peak in life, and also where we could find our good faith, but also put our trust in Jesus. So I definitely feel like these virtues are definitely important from a Christian standard view, because they can definitely help us get to that peak point and where we need to be in life to have a good, steady based life. So, yeah.
Nice. Carmen, any thoughts?
Okay, well, I think the answer definitely depends on your definition of the good life, because there is a couple different definitions, which I'm not going to get into too deeply. But there's, if you think of it from like a secular perspective, it's completely different. And I think that from that perspective, then yeah, totally, because it's the idea of a good life is much different from a bigger worldview. But I think from our Christian perspective, I think it's absolutely necessary to attain the good life or even come close to it. Like I think you need these virtues. I don't think you can really attain like a real like Christian moral standard of the good life without it like containing these virtues.
I honestly totally forgot about like the other versions of the good life, because in class we always like go straight to the idea of the good life from a Christian perspective versus the secular one, which is being rich and getting money.
We could have gone so deep into that.
And like just the way that most people view the good life as being famous and having money and being able to do all these wonderful, crazy things and travel. Whereas for Christians, the good life is having a solid faith and foundation in God, which I think is an important like distinction in order to decide what the good life definitely means. And I like that you brought up both sides. That was smart.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I think that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for listening to our podcast about our 3 virtues: humility, patience, and kindness, with me, Halle, and Lilly. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening and stay tuned for more.